Hello, I'm Jeremy Vine. It's 8:30 and this is Panorama. Together but separate, the town where people are turning their backs on each other.
When I was at school, I had a lot of Asian friends.
Do you ever go out with white Blackburnians on a Saturday night?
Can't say I do, no.
And now we don't even speak.
We map a community that is splitting down the middle.
It's amazing, really, isn't it?
And we find out why some whites are packing up and moving out.
You'll end up with Muslim Asian towns, you'll end up with white British towns.
Race and identity. It's a subject we probably all have strong feelings on, but can find it hard to talk about. There's plenty of argument about how many new immigrants we should have in this country, but what about the earlier arrivals? Have we found it possible to live together or even alongside each other? In some places, yes. But tonight, Panorama reports from a town where some whites feel so ill at ease with their Muslim neighbours, they're taking flight.
British citizens in a British town, marching and flying the flag. They've got something to celebrate. This is Blackburn in Lancashire, a town with an identity crisis. The parade was through what's now an overwhelmingly Asian area. It's the anniversary of the birth of the Prophet Muhammad, but not everyone's cheering. Some whites here feel they're being taken over.
Morning. What do you think of it all?
Rubbish.
Rubbish?
Rubbish.
Why do you say that?
There is a lot of friggin' rubbish.
Well, you live here, and this is a colourful religious parade going right past your front door.
Yeah, all their religion. And we done it, we'd be thrown out of the bloody country. We're not allowed to do out like this. We can't have our say.
It was a peaceful religious parade, but it wasn't an experience that Blackburn's non-Muslims could easily share. To white passers-by, it might have looked and sounded threatening.
The chants aren't in English, and the banners aren't in English.
Exactly, and this is something we try year on year to get the organisers to at least put English banners up, so those who can't read Urdu or can't understand it will know what it is straight away.
A few weeks later, it was the whites' turn to have their parade. In Blackburn town centre, there was a genteel celebration of St George's Day. This time, the whites were the performers. Asian Muslims were spectators, and England's patron saint stood guard.
The English nature is very laid back and apathetical, really. I think we think, oh, it's okay, we're English and everything's okay, but that's not so at the moment. I think we have to fight now for what we think is English. We have to fight for all those things that really identify us as being English.
In Blackburn, there's a white majority and an Asian minority who are nearly all Muslim. They share a town, but keep apart. They haven't had riots, they tell you here, but they've got a growing problem that no one can deny. This is a town that's deeply divided, and its division's getting worse.
The risk is of separate communities and of people breathing the same air but walking past each other. I think that in Blackburn we've done better than some other towns. We've sought to avoid the riots that have taken place elsewhere, and we have to work hard to ensure there's better understanding and communication between the communities.
The part of Blackburn just north of the town centre, Whalley Range, is where the Asians first arrived in the 60s and bought cheap property. It's now almost entirely Asian-owned. Blackburn's Asians originally came from Pakistan and India to work alongside whites in the booming cotton industry. But as those jobs vanished, many retreated back into their own community and their own identity, especially their Muslim faith. Mohammed Nawaz, a Muslim, is a Blackburn minicab driver. His firm's based near Whalley Range. And all the drivers at Adams Private Hire are Asians, like himself.
We're living two different lives here, aren't we?
until something's done to bring both communities together, we're just going to grow apart and it's going to get worse.
The southern part of the town, the area around the Blackburn Rovers football ground at Ewood Park, is mainly white. Blackburn Rovers supporters aren't exclusively white, but they're hugely in the majority. Ian Goodliffe's a season ticket holder. He's a minicab driver too. The firm he works for is based in Mill Hill, a white area, and all the drivers in his firm are white as well.
This end is predominantly white, and at the other end of town it's predominantly Asian, just one area, and then you have different areas in between that are mixed.
But everybody knows that in certain parts of town it's predominantly white, and that's that.
Yes.
And in other parts of town it's predominantly Asian, and that's that.
Yes.
The separation between the Muslim Asians and the whites is stark in Blackburn, but it's not unique. It graphically reveals a problem facing the whole of the UK. In 2001, separation led to riots in nearby Bradford, Burnley and Oldham, and to disturbances in nearly 40 towns.
I think it exists as a problem to some degree or other throughout the country, and it may be in small pockets and neighbourhoods within larger cities like London and Birmingham, and therefore not quite so evident. It might be whole boroughs or whole cities, but to some degree or another it exists. There is some degree of separation or segregation in most towns and cities.
In Blackburn, segregation means that young people, like Jaffa Hussain, an Asian student, stick to their own territory.
People are afraid of walking into another person's area, realizing that, you know, they might be in someone else's turf, they might, you know, be racially abused, they might be violently attacked, something might happen. Really, there should be no problem, we should be able to get on. But, you know, with people segregating themselves into their own areas, that does become a major problem.
There are 500 racially motivated crimes a year in Blackburn. 2/3 are white on Asian. The numbers are increasing, and they can be triggered by events happening outside the town altogether, including terrorism.
They're invariably fueled by something, and they can come out of an international football match. You might have a rise. They can come out of the back of the terrorist attacks in London. You get a rise because people will then pick on people. They say, right, okay, then this is your fault, and I'll blame you for it.
Recently in Mill Hill, a white area, a local chippy changed hands. The business was bought by Asians. What happened next was captured on camera.
My window's been smashed, my car tire been slashed, and I've been given so many times racial abuses for the last 6 months, and I'm scared now. I'm thinking of selling this business now. I can't carry on like this. I can't say this is a safe place to do a business.
Besides their heartlands, where the communities live separately, the Muslim Asians mainly in the north and the whites in the south, there are large parts of Blackburn where Muslim Asians and whites live together. But how much do they actually mix? We tried a simple experiment.
I want to give you this. If you plug this in, there's a tracker on the end of this, and it's going to see where you go, which parts of town you go, and we're also going to compare it to where someone else goes in their job. So we'll put it onto the dashboard, and from this point on, it'll see where you go, and it'll give us some idea of what you do.
They each have the trackers in their cabs for about 10 hours. Would their passengers, white and Muslim Asian, get together, or would they stay apart? Would the two communities ever head for the same destination? Would their paths ever cross? And besides the tracker test, we went to find out whether Blackburn's younger generation went out together or apart. We witnessed Saturday night fever for whites and Muslim Asian style.
Do you ever go out with white Blackburnians on a Saturday night?
Can't say I do, no.